deep within you is this mischief. Deep within you is this knowing that you have left. In mind, in thought, you have gone out and you ventured into whatever seems to be outside of yourself. Really, it's all a creation in your mind. But you have gone out in thought and you've started to experience a fractal of yourself. You've started to experience others' stories, parallel lives, all of this seeming outside of you. So inside of you, there is this mischief, there is this element of going against something. You're always pushing frontiers, you're always willing to go beyond the realm of what you know, because in that stagnant, free space, in that pure consciousness before all of this began, you could say, there was a certain safety to it. But safety isn't your trait. You know that your trait in the soul, safety doesn't really mean anything to you, because what is safety? Safety really is a byproduct of believing that you can risk something, right? You can lose something. So the whole process of going out is this process of the illusion of being able to lose something, right? In eternity, there was only everything. You couldn't lose anything. You couldn't even take something off of yourself, because where would it go? There was only you. But as we come into this density, the key thing to a story that makes it dramatic, that makes you able to experience loss, lack, death, polarity, is this one illusion that you can lose something, that something within you can be lacking, say relationship, money, your identity. It's the identities which we can start to look at. Is the only thing you really can hold on to, right? The only thing, and I love to make things so simple, the only thing in this whole story, in this whole universe, is your identity, your life, and your insistence on not letting it crack open to birth new life. This is the only process that goes on. You are dying every day. You are dying into surrender. Life really is a continuous surrender of change and creation and flow. And so this fantasy of safety I often talk about, this fantasy of believing there is something that within form, if I just about rearrange the colors, right? If I just about rearrange my finances, my relationships, my perception of myself, because that's all you're doing in reality, really, is changing the perception of yourself. I am rich. I am this. I am this. You can't own anything. It's impossible to own anything because there's nothing outside of yourself. So all you're really doing as you're climbing this ladder of life is changing your self-perception, right? Because someone could have a lot of money. Someone could have absolutely no money. Yet the self-perception is what grants you the freedom of seeing the self with a capital S. You may have money in the bank account, but feel very poor inside. As Bob Marley says, what are you talking about when you say richness? Because the richness of the soul is a choice in self-perception. It's a choice of seeing yourself as complete, just prior to the images, right? Just prior to all experience is you. And the experience comes out of you, not at you. You are not heading towards life, battling the forest, as if that would be scary. If there was something that you had to find within this reality that would then complete you, that would be separation. That would be separation as an actual reality in itself rather than an illusion. So this whole process is one of seeing that the temptation is to look outside of yourself, to look at the images, to go, well, there must be a certain image that if I can rearrange it, if I shapeshift enough, because you can't rearrange images. All you can rearrange is your self-perception. That's all there is. The reality is just this mirror that reflects back to your self-perception. So even in the belief that you can acquire objects in order to fulfill, you're not even acquiring objects, you're shifting how you perceive yourself. So many times we use permission slips. We sort of will say, well, fitness, and then I'll allow myself to feel healthy. Whereas health is just a thought, using a permission slip of doing all of this exercise, and then you allow the body to heal. Then you allow the body. Really, it's the oxygen, it's the breath. It's really a permission slip. And so we sometimes use permission slips in order to feel good. Once I have this, then I will. Or once I meditate. You see how these are all just slipping slides into really seeing that you don't need to get a permission slip off anything except yourself. You can be your own permission slip to grant you that release of what you're looking for in the objects. And then you start to see, let's say, money. I always go back to money because it's an object in the world that people think they'll achieve and kind of fix this internal gap, this internal void that seems to follow people around. Now, what they start to find is, in the acquisition of this object, still the reality remains that it's a self-perception thing. No matter what you have, this feeling of lack will just shift. It will just shift into a different realm. It will be relationships, it will be this, it will be that. So what is it that makes us feel complete? What is it that starts to shift our consciousness out of this polarity mindset, out of this scarcity mindset? Well, it's really the cracking open of everything that seems to be holding you within that tension. Because it really is just a tension, because all that energy can do is either relax and go up and release, or it can squeeze and contract. So the only suffering really is the contraction of trying to hold together an old self. Like David White says, we tend to live 5 to 10 years behind the revelations that have come inside. We tend to live catching up with how we feel inside, because the physical world is at a slower density of the thought world. So in order to allow these revelations to come in, sometimes you would have had this understanding, this shift, but it doesn't really materialize in your day-to-day life. Now, this is because the nervous system is holding your real memory of yourself. The nervous system really is a manifestation of your self-perception. We come back to that again. Because if you're feeling a certain way about yourself, you've chosen to have reality that creates how you feel. And so the body is really the origin of that reflection. Say you wanted to experience wealth, or you wanted to experience success in a career, or even a relationship. If you truly have a feeling about yourself or a self-perception that you don't deserve that, then where is it going to be the contraction when you do receive that, or when you're about to sabotage yourself? It's going to be a contraction in the nervous system, which sends out a signal that says, no, I don't want this. Because even if you think you want this, if you're sabotaging yourself, deep down you think that if you are to receive this and to open to these high levels of whatever it is, either love, consciousness, acceptance from others, because really it's such a skill to allow yourself to receive all of these things that you think you want. But if there's a self-sabotage going on, then deep down there's a deep hidden belief that if I am to open to this, then this would be more painful than to close off. You're always valuing something. You're always valuing basically pleasure. So if you know deep down that this is a unconscious mechanism going on, all you have to do is bring awareness to this self-sabotaging of basic higher levels of consciousness. You're the only one holding you in to this level of consciousness, because you're the only one here. There's nothing outside of yourself. You cannot be affected by anything unless you agree to it. There are only images, there are only colors. There are only your labels of what that means, right? And you can come in with all the stories of, well, what if you're in a war-torn country? What if you're in this? What if you're in that? Well, just take a step back for a second, right? Take a step back and realize that you have chosen, if someone's in a war-torn country, their soul has chosen to experience a certain level of separation, a certain level of suffering in order to still find the light. If you want an accelerated life of insight, then you're going to choose that because it would be perfect for what your soul wants to know. Maybe you were a tyrant in a past life, and now you're experiencing the karma of that to know just how much you affected others. And in that is the greatest wisdom to then know what it felt like to be on the other side of that. So, back to self-perception. This self-sabotage mechanism is a manifestation in the body, which is trying to catch up with the revelations within. Even if you say as many affirmations in the world, I deserve love, I deserve completion, I deserve money. If you have a subconscious program running that's still in a physicality of a restriction, a constriction, whether that's in intimacy, so many people say, well, I really would love a girlfriend or a boyfriend. But then when someone comes in that they're actually really compatible with, that's when the fear comes on. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where someone's speaking to you, maybe they're trying to hit on you or something, and you're just not interested, maybe it's just not your type. There isn't really this constriction, maybe awkwardness, maybe this, but because you know that there isn't an investment in the outcome of this conversation, maybe you don't really feel that deeply about them, there isn't that constriction, so the nervous system, the self-sabotaging mechanisms lie dormant. Now, what happens when someone that you really have a crush on, or maybe you're in a job interview and the interview you really love? This is a good point as well, because if you're in an interview that you don't really care about, again, the constriction, the self-sabotage, it lies dormant. But deep in the soul, deep in, you could say, the psyche, even in the collective, are these dormant belief systems, these dormant cesspools, cesspits, which in there resides your true feelings about what you want. Because we tend to think we want freedom. We tend to think we want everything that we would write down. But truly, if you're not experiencing what you think you want, it's because there is a belief system in yourself, in your nervous system, that says, if I was to acquire this, it would take more pain and more courage to open to that than it would just to kind of stay safe in the life that I'm already living. So you've got to ask yourself, am I being honest with what I truly want? Do I actually want what is being presented here? Because if I'm not experiencing that, there must be a value system going on where I'm measuring what I truly want by how it's going to make me feel. Because you see beauty, you see freedom. It's like a bird in a cage. I have all these birds right now going past. And the bird has been told so many times that it's kind of dangerous to fly out of the cage, to welcome in a certain level of success, a certain level of relationship. Because can you see the key word that follows all of these pursuits, all of these openings into high levels of consciousness is responsibility. You know, most people think they want abundance of whatever you name abundance. I'm not talking about money. They think they want this, but truly they know deep down that would take a responsibility to actually take the step. Right? My battery's about to die. So I'm going to say one more thing before it does. Most people think they want to take the step, but they don't. You can lead someone to the gate, but you can't even open the gate for them. They have to take the step through. All right, it's about to die. So I love you. I'll see you in a bit. I'll see you in a bit. What does that even mean?